Hey, I'm Shauna, and welcome to More Good News Only, where we celebrate the stories that uplift and bring us all together. Every weekday at 10:30 a.m. and then again at 1 p.m., we are recapping the good news only, the feel-good headlines, the local wins that bring a little more light to your day. And I want to hear from you too. So if something good is happening in your world, a personal victory, a community success, a birthday, or just something that made you smile, send me an email to news25@week.com. And remember to put Hey Shauna, that's SHAUNA, in the subject line so I know it's for me. I would love to share your good news right here on the show. Now, today's show is full of good news. And that's, as always, right? I try to make it full of good news. And so today we're going to talk about several things. We're going to be talking about an underwater photographer. Can you imagine that? Like there are some things, some careers that I just didn't know were things. And what I find interesting just about that concept is if I, as an adult, don't realize that certain careers are an option, that means certain kids of ours don't realize that certain careers are an option. And when they figure those things out, sometimes the whole world opens up for kids who don't realize certain careers are an option. And an underwater photographer is one of them. So we're going to be talking about the Underwater Photographer of the Year award. And who received that and why. I think that will be lots and lots of fun to discover. Something else I didn't know you could do. I didn't know that there was a such thing as like a medical artist. I don't like when you go through like anatomy and physiology books and stuff like that, you see like all or even psychology books, but any kind of medical book where they have like these diagrams of different body parts like the brain or the nervous system. Somebody draws that stuff, and I had no idea like they were actually like artists that did it. It seems like common sense, but for some reason I thought maybe somebody took an image of an image, right? But to know that somebody actually illustrates those things in the same way that they illustrate picture books is really cool. But that's an option for your kids at home who maybe they are little budding artists, and they maybe also are really interested in science or medicine or just the body. There's so many options in that area. So let your kids know to research that. A medical artist, that is a real thing. They can draw for medical textbooks, and it is a pretty lucrative career from what I've found out. And it'll satisfy both parts of the brains, but that's really cool. Have you ever heard of that? If you ever heard of a medical artist in terms of career, send me an email to news25@week.com and make sure you put Hey Shauna, that's SHAUNA, in the subject line so that I don't think it's work email and ignore it. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook at 25 News Good News Only. That is where you can respond to all of the Get Personal with Shauna emails. You can also send me direct messages, and I typically am the one checking those messages and returning them. I always respond to whatever you send me. I'm happy to get your messages and your comments. We'll have more good news after the break. Welcome back to more Good News Only. So, our first story of the day is a pretty fun one. We were just talking over the break or before the break about the Australian photographer, Underwater Photographer of the Year award. Look at that! Isn't that pretty? It looks like a painting almost. But Maddie Smith has been named Underwater Photographer of the Year for 2026. His winning image, Rockpool Rookies, captured southern elephant seal pups in Falkland Islands. That looks scary. That looks even scarier. It just keeps getting better and better and better as the video goes on. So Smith says the inspiration came from watching dozens of playful seal pups. Oof, that is very scary. Seal pups at sunset. That is so scary. Is that not scary to you? If it's scary to you, send me an email. Let me know. That what about that scares you? I Animals and myself, we have an interesting relationship. That looks like a painting, and I love that. That's pretty. Um, so he used a special handmade dome to create the stunning half above, half below the water effect. What is that? My word. I think that's an octopus, but that is scary as well. I don't know if I could go underwater and do stuff like this with all those creatures, especially seeing as how, oh, that's very gorgeous, how I am finicky about animals on dry land. So I cannot imagine being underwater with no control over anything, seemingly, right, in my head. And then, especially my breath, seeing animals like this and being okay. So this wouldn't work out for me as a career path. But it has for Maddie Smith. The competition drew nearly 7,900 entries from photographers worldwide, and other winning shots include a Japanese Navy shipwreck. And yeah, we saw that protective octopus mother, right? We saw them, and the clownfish eggs hatching. I wonder if the clownfish eggs hatching was, oh, was this it? Because that looks like a clownfish. Oh, yeah, all of those little fish that are coming up. Wow, that's so cool. They're like little baby tadpoles. I don't know what that is. No idea what that is. That looks like a dog and a fish and a shark mix. There's no way in the world that could be my career path. And that will forever look the creepiest to me. Anyway, our next story is about Mr. Billy Woodward. He is the voice of the Stallions, and he's signing off after 45 years behind the mic. For high school sports, this is really cool. The longtime Southwest Onslow High School broadcaster called 7 state championship football games. He seems like the sweetest man. The story was in our 9 a.m. broadcast, and he just seems so sweet. He's so soft spoken, and he's very grateful and very enthusiastic about his work. His favorite memory, he says, is the Stallions' 2004 title victory when few gave them a chance. We'll have more about Mr. Woodward's story after this break. Welcome back to More Good News Only. So, before the break, we were talking about Mr. Billy Woodward and how he is signing off after 45 years as the voice of the Stallions, announcing high school football games. So, he says that the players became like sons and daughters over the decades, and coaches surprised him with a replay center tent dedicated in his honor. And now he's officially retired. He says that he'll enjoy games as a devoted fan for the first time in decades. 45 years to be exact. Congratulations to Mr. Billy Woodward. And next, we're talking about an 81-year-old Missouri man who is swinging for the fences, hoping to join the Savannah Bananas. Now, had never heard of the Savannah Bananas until I started here, and they seem to be a very cool and unconventional softball or baseball team. What is the difference between softball and baseball? Can you tell me that? You know, I'm not a sports girl. So I don't know the difference between softball and baseball. Is softball like for kids, or and baseball is like for adults? Like, what's the difference? Is it like when kids play, when it's youth, as opposed to when adults are playing, or major? I don't know what the things are called. So I shudder to say, to call it something. I have no idea what happens in either of these things. So tell me if you know. Send me an email to news25week.com, or you can comment on Facebook on this video. And let me know what's the difference between softball and baseball. I just know that in middle school, in drama class, one of my good friends, Amanda, she was so pretty. She still is, I think. I haven't seen her in 100 years. But she was playing softball, or no, t-ball or something. I don't know. Either way, she played one of those games where you hit the bat and the ball comes flying at your face, hit her square in the mouth, knocked out her two front teeth. Ever since then, I said, not at all for me. Not at all. I mean, I was never going to do it anyway because it included too much running. But where the hard ball comes flying at your face, I mean, knocked her teeth out, and she had like these wire things holding her teeth to the other teeth that were left in her head together and in her mouth. And it looked like it hurt so bad. I couldn't believe she came to school the next day. I've been at home in bed, probably depressed, because also did I mention that I have dreams. I have a recurring nightmare since I was a little girl of my teeth falling out, like either falling out or getting knocked out, whether it's all of them or just one of them, and then I can't make it to the dentist in time to get it put back in my head. I mean, when I wake up, heart pounding, sweaty from this dream every time I've had it all of my life. There's no way. Either way, the point is there's an 81-year-old man who wants to join the Savannah Bananas. Back to his story. So his name is Rob Harrelson, and he has submitted a creative tryout video showing off trick plays and bike rides to first base. He's coached youth baseball, so then that answers our first question. It doesn't, softball and baseball maybe are different anyway, and it doesn't matter if it's youth or adult, either way. So he's coached youth baseball for more than 30 years and says the game should always be about fun. Harrelson says banana balls, high energy style is exactly what baseball needs so far. There's been no word from the team, but he is hopeful that they'll go bananas and give him a shot. Well, we are rooting for you, Mr. Harrelson. With more good news only after the break. Welcome back to more Good News Only. So, historians in Polo, Illinois are uncovering some ties to the Underground Railroad, new evidence of such ties. So, the Polo Historical Society found maps and first-hand accounts documenting routes toward freedom. To me, this makes sense because, I mean, isn't this one of the ways north? But I digress. Records show Henry Elsie helped guide enslaved people along a 35-mile path beginning near the Mississippi River. Researchers believe as many as 30 conductors and station agents are buried in Fairmont Cemetery. The group has applied for National Park Service Network to Freedom recognition. Organizers say honoring this history ensures the courage of those involved is never forgotten. And I think that is so important because that took tremendous courage. I mean, they risked their lives for freedom, and not just their freedom, but the freedom of others. That's amazing. So I hope they get this approval and this recognition so that this will their work will go down in history. It was never in vain, but so that it will forever be remembered. Speaking of forever remembered and honoring those traditions, so a hero welcomed our hero's welcome was in store for Carlsbad, California, in Carlsbad, California, for 100-year-old Navy veteran Royce Williams. Williams received the Congressional Medal of Honor during this week's State of the Union. So that was last week. I apologize for that. Last week's State of the Union for actions in a classified Korean War mission. That's so cool. So friends lined the runway at Palomar Airport. This was an emotional greeting after waiting decades for this recognition, they say. Williams humbly thanks supporters, saying he appreciates the many smiling faces welcoming him home. And the celebrations aren't over as he turns 101 in early April. Congratulations and happy birthday to Mr. Williams. And look at this. So Dolly Parton, what a switch, right? So a major switch. So a major name change in Knoxville, now officially the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. This is a major change for that hospital. So the facility was formerly known as East Tennessee Children's Hospital, and it has served families since 1937. So Dolly Parton shared the news in a heartfelt video praising staff and volunteers. Dolly Parton, she just seems like such a sweet woman, such a class act. I've always been a fan since I was a little bitty girl. More on this story after the break. Welcome back to more good news only. So, as we were talking before the break, a major hospital in Knoxville has now officially been named the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. So, the facility, excuse us, somebody's a little frustrated in the background. The facility was formerly known as East Tennessee Children's Hospital, and they have served families since 1937. Dolly Parton shared the news in a heartfelt video praising staff and volunteers. So the hospital leaders say the rebrand reflects a strong partnership and shared commitment to pediatric care. Families are assured that while the name is changing, care and services will remain the same. Isn't that something to have a whole hospital named after you and you are a country music and movie star? That's so amazing. Leaders say that the new name represents hope, compassion, and a bright future for children across Tennessee. So sweet. And speaking of icons, iconic mascot Mr. Clean says he is retiring. You know, I love social media and how it gives voice to these characters, these icons, these mascots that are not real but seem very real to all of us in our everyday lives, especially our childhoods and upbringing. I remember when they put the gray hair on him to age him a bit. It's so cool. So now he's got social media. That's funny. So after more than 60 years, he is now retiring. Social media posts show the bald and brawny cleaner ready for time off. Parent company Procter and Gamble say the product packaging will remain unchanged. So does this mean we're not going to get commercials with him anymore? The announcement appears tied to an upcoming company reveal. Oh, okay. For now, Mr. Clean fans can rest assured he's not scrubbing out completely. So we're still going to get a little something, but he is going to retire from his full capacity. Well, that is a wrap for me today. Now I want to hear from you. Please go to news25 at week.com and let me know what you thought about today's show. Be sure to put Hey Shauna, that's SHAUNA, in the subject line so I know it's for me. In the meantime, be sure to check out all of the evening newscasts and meet me back here tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. I'm LaShauna Guy for 25 News. Have a wonderful day.